Hi, I'm Dave Deacon and welcome to OKLApreneur. If you're interested in building a business in our great state and want to learn from Oklahomans who have done it, you are in the right place. Meals can be a great unifier because when we all sit down together, we get a chance to learn from one another. Coming up, we'll learn from one OKLApreneur who made his way back home a couple of years ago and was looking for some good food and found a great opportunity.
Couldn't find the information in certain publications or lifestyle magazines. So being to have a background in sales, it was, let me just get in the car every Saturday, and I just drove around. And the beautiful thing about that, I started to really uncover all the great development and what's happening in Oklahoma City.
OKLApreneur is made possible by these sponsors who believe in growing Oklahoma through small businesses.
We are Oklahoma's electric cooperatives, powering the needs of new generations with safe, affordable, reliable, and environmentally responsible power.
We've all been there. When someone asks, where do you want to go for lunch? The next phrase is usually, well, I don't care. Luckily, there are guides and apps out there to help us make that decision. When Apollo Woods moved back to Oklahoma City after living in Houston for years, he was looking for some great food like he had back in Houston, but he didn't know where to start. He knew that there had to be people out there like him looking for great food, but not knowing where to find it. That's where he got the idea for OKC Black Eats. Join me as we learn from an OKLApreneur who is building a citywide identity for folks who love great food while expanding knowledge of multiple cultures. From Apollo Woods of OKC Black Eats in Oklahoma City.
OKC Black Eats started from an interest in wanting to increase the visibility of Black-owned restaurants, food trucks, and chefs in Oklahoma City. So we are a marketing and consulting company providing those gap services for our locally owned businesses here in Oklahoma City.
Right. So when did you start doing that?
You know, that's actually a good question. So it started in about 2016 when I moved back to Oklahoma City from Houston, and I was just trying to find where were the other Black-owned restaurants in Oklahoma City. So moving back, couldn't find the information in certain publications or lifestyle magazines. So being to have a background in sales, it was, let me just get in the car every Saturday, and I just drove around. And the beautiful thing about that, I started to really uncover all the great development and what's happening in Oklahoma City. And from there, it became, how do I then use my experience in marketing and sales to start helping drive people to restaurants and food trucks that are underrepresented or not visible in the city.
How many restaurants do you work with?
So there are, on record that I found, there are 52 Black-owned restaurants in the Oklahoma City metro area, which that actually covers 10 counties, but it's primarily in Oklahoma City and Midwest City, Del City area. I've worked with some different projects. In terms of consistently, probably around five consistently. But there are a total of 52 Black-owned restaurants, and surprisingly, people don't realize that number is actually almost the equivalent to Dallas.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right here
All right here in the metro, and predominantly most of them are in Oklahoma City proper. But when you include the metro areas like Midwest City, Del City, Edmond, that's the large concentration of restaurants that are right here in our metro.
You have had a pretty successful career in an industry, and now you've stepped away from that to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Why did you do it, and how did you do it?
I knew at some point that I was going to go into entrepreneurship. I think any person with a sales, business development background, you're thinking about, okay, I could do this on my own. And so when I moved back here, I just recognized that it went from having a passion and want to support locally owned businesses to people just asking me, are you going to continue doing this again?
Right.
And I kept at it. And then I realized that, eventually I realized that this was something that could really benefit our local economy. And I love food, I love brunch, I love happy hour. So being consistent with it, it really turned into an opportunity to go a bit deeper by talking with those restaurants and saying, here are some of the resources that they need. I was networking very well, and it just evolved into a marketing consulting company.
Apollo's network was growing, and he was bringing folks to the table and talking over brunch. Just like any entrepreneur, he was beginning to wonder if his service was really going to take off. That's when he set a deadline.
I lived in a major metropolitan city after high school, moving to Houston. So I was already part of the growth of that space.
Right.
So I started a business in 2003 that was around networking and all that. So I understood that part, but that took some while. So I got really used to that. So coming here, this was completely new.
Right.
You know, so brunch is not the same as breakfast. So
Yeah.
when I would say, I want to host a brunch at your restaurant, it was perceived as, well, we already have breakfast. Well, brunch and breakfast are not the same.
Yeah.
You know, it's atmosphere, it's energy, it's like a social experiment. So initially it was difficult to help them see that relevance, but we were consistent, and my measure was, if this didn't work by the 6-month mark of doing it, because as an entrepreneur, you're investing in yourself. You're spending your own money, your own capital, your own resources.
Right.
You have to learn how to do marketing, all your things that you didn't know how to do. And then that 6-month brunch, we sold out.
Wow.
That 6-month brunch, we sold out. It fired off. Like we had over 200 people attended this restaurant that had no more than 37 seats.
Yeah.
I love it when chefs say 86. That means that something's not on the menu.
Right.
And there was so many first timers. So I knew at that point, okay, there's something here. And then the next opportunity was a chance to speak about it at Ignite at Tower Theater.
Yeah.
So I did Ignite OKC. Great response from that, and it just kept going. So every point where I was like, I'm not really sure this is going to work. At the same time, I was still working in corporate America.
Right.
And then every point where I felt like I'm not sure, and then less than a year diving into it, I knew this is something that I think could benefit Oklahoma City area.
What have you learned as an entrepreneur? What have you learned that you wish that more people knew about in the entrepreneurship process?
I wish, especially you talk about entrepreneurship programs, I wish that people would emphasize create a business that actually helps the economy. That might sound insensitive, but at the same time,
It's true.
you know, if I'm going to create a T-shirt business, well, am I creating that T-shirt business with the emphasis on hiring someone or drawing other businesses closer? So as I've gotten more involved in working with the local city government, municipalities, and investors and developers, I realized that having this business, is it going to draw other businesses to want to come closer? Is my T-shirt business or my baking company, my restaurant, can that be an anchor to say, well, hey, there's Taste of Soul Giant Egg Roll, it's right here.
Right.
They have a lot of traffic. I think I want to consider another business next door to it because they draw traffic. Or I want to build multifamily housing. So that's what I wish there'd be more emphasis on. Does your business draw other businesses so you can create new economies and local communities?
I feel like I should ask this question first, but what is your business? I mean, you said that, you know, I'm not a blogger. I'm not here as a reviewer. I'm here to help with the community, build the community, and all that. And my second question on that is, how did you navigate that through the state as far as LLC? I love to ask entrepreneurs that question because I've done it, and it's not fun.
No,
it's not fun sitting up there on Northwest 13th and filling out the paperwork and okay, I thought I had to have this. No, I have to have this, and then run to the Capitol, and then I had to have this, and I'm wrong.
Right.
I think we've all done that.
Yeah.
Well, take me through the classification of what you do, and then working with the state to get official.
You know, initially it was just, I didn't know. Honestly, I really didn't know.
Right.
I knew I had this thing, and I had a name.
Right.
I got a DBA. I did it online.
Yep.
And then it became, after that, it was, how do I make this a business?
Yep.
Because what I wanted to do wasn't this.
Right.
The business I wanted to create was not this. And I had to get over my own self of, how do you market food?
Yeah.
And then it came to reality that you're not marketing food, you're marketing small businesses. But your niche is food, hospitality.
Right.
And once I got over that, I quickly realized that, hey, there's a business model out here for this. We're a marketing consulting company. Now let's go through the process of getting the LLC done,
Yeah.
which is easy online,
Yeah.
do it online. But then honestly, being in community with entrepreneurs, I realized, well, here's a way to white label your processes. Here's some standard automation things that we've tried.
Right.
Because you're always trying to find the right thing that fits to your business.
Yep.
And we're still always uncovering that. But I thought about my time in corporate America, it was the same thing, where I used to hate having a contract, ready to sign for a client, and the controller comes back and says, nope, we don't agree to those terms. I'm like, the deal is right here, right? And then it's at the end of the month.
Yeah.
But now I realize you have to take time to get T's and C's together. You have to take time to do non-disclosures.
Right.
You have to, that's valuable thing to do. And I've learned that. And you know, when I talk to colleagues or aspiring entrepreneurs, I tell them, in the beginning, you need to think about what your terms are going to be to protect your business, and you have to file, and all those other benefits that are coming with being a small business. But you get the beautiful feeling of knowing that when I spend locally, that money stays local. And then when they spend within their ward or their area, that money stays in that ward and the area, versus, hey, I live here, but I spend somewhere else. Keep your money here in the area that you live and serve.
When it comes down to it, Apollo has found that really focusing and pacing himself was the best approach for him to build his business. And he adds that entrepreneurs really have to focus on their product or service and may have to make some tough choices.
Be very clear, is this a hobby or is this something that you are really wanting to commit to? Because it is not easy.
Right.
If it's a hobby, that's fine. Continue on. You can work a full-time job. If it's your passion project, great. But really ask yourself, are you willing to make the sacrifice to leave the comfort of a steady paycheck and benefits to build something that you're not going to have someone that you might be able to connect with or rely on.
Right.
It will be solely on you. And I think from my experiences and some things I've experienced in life have set me up to where I feel like I have that fortitude that I'm not going to quit until it happens.
Right.
But also wise enough to know that that's some activities you have to let go. Anyone that's coming into the food space, had this conversation recently. Someone was wanting to, they're a vegan chef, wanted a food truck, and eventually go into a brick and mortar. And I said, is your following strong enough to where people are demanding you to open a food truck? And you can be liked and popular, but if people only know you in your space, you got to expand your brand out. So it's definitely, if you're going to have a product, work on it so much that people want it. Whereas my story was different. People didn't know if they wanted something like OKC Black Eats. But now it's, we want it, so now that demand is there. And not every story is the same.
Well, I love your story. I've really enjoyed.
Thank you.
Working.
I appreciate this. I'm excited, and all these food aromas.
Oh man,
I think I want some egg rolls now.
I'm with you. Special thanks to Apollo Woods of OKC Black Eats in Oklahoma City, as well as the folks at Taste of Soul Super Egg Roll in Del City for letting us use their restaurant for our chat. If you'd like to hear Apollo's entire interview, including how he knew when it was time to transition from his 9-to-5 job to being a full-time entrepreneur, check out the OKLApreneur podcast at OKLApreneur.com. OKLApreneur is made possible by sponsors like the Oklahoma Association of Electric Cooperatives, and we sincerely appreciate their belief of the impact that small businesses have on Oklahoma. Until next time, I'm Dave Deacon. Let's get down to business, Oklahoma.